Blutbart.
Hello and welcome back to another behind the scenes toy photography video. This week I'm going to show you how to make a garden. I call this shot Friendly Competition. I'll also show you my editing process. I began my setup by covering a paving stone in squares of artificial grass. I was imagining this scene as a friendly sparring session between Yoda and his old apprentice, Dooku. Since they're both regal, dignified characters, I thought it would be fun to create a secluded garden pavilion for them to practice their technique in private. Once the grass was in place, I positioned this hexagonal paving stone I found in my garage. On top of the stone, I placed a small tree. This tree, along with much of the other foliage I used, was a simple fish tank decoration I got at the pet store. I used those decorations along with real moss and fake boulders to cover up the bottom of my tree and the edges of my set. I picked a green and pink background to complement the colors of my fake plants, doing my best to create some balance between the two colors. With my scene set, I posed and placed my figures. I removed the blade from Dooku's lightsaber so that it wouldn't cast a shadow when I illuminated the ground with my little blue spotlight. I also borrowed the lightsaber hilt from the Episode 2 version of Dooku because Hasbro cheaped out on the paint apps with this new release. After taking one exposure of Dooku by himself, I added Yoda and a green spotlight for his lightsaber and took another exposure. Taking two exposures like this makes it much easier to edit out your figure stands in post-production. Here's my starting image. My setup was a little complicated this week, so let's go through the editing process at light speed. I started by blending together my exposures with layer masking and the brush tool. It took some trial and error to get the blending just right. Next, I cropped the image and added adjustment layers for levels and color balance along with a warm photo filter. After that, I used the pen tool to create the outlines of my lightsaber blades, used the paths to create selections, and then filled in those selections with the brush tool. I used layer effects to add an inner and outer glow to each saber. Following that, I then used the healing brush tool to remove the articulation joints on my toys. Finally, I used the dodge tool to lighten up my subjects, then created a vignette to darken up the edges. So once again, here's my starting image. And here's where I ended up. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing, and make sure to check me out on Instagram. Thanks, and until next time.